thank you, honorable members, for the questions. I'll start with a question by Senator Uma. It's always good to hear not very many people stand and speak for the rights of monkeys. And thank you for that. I think it's a brilliant idea of planting fruit trees, mangoes and others that the animals like, so that we can also supply them with food that they want. And it's something that I'm going to look at, because we look at mitigation areas, even as we open up other areas. We have, we're looking at also wildlife corridors and dispersed areas, and we have a report that we're compiling to look at how we can be able to live with those animals, because sometimes those monkeys transverse from one area to another area, and then we've blocked where they pass through. And so as a result, they're not able to go from one area when it dries up to one area where there's food. And so as a result of that, they end up in our shambas. And so we are looking at all that so we could also advise. It's a big challenge throughout the country in terms of the blocking of corridor areas of animals. At times, animals just want to pass and go their way. But then if they find a house, they find a farm, they find people where they're not supposed to be, then those accidents happen. But thank you for those ideas, Honorable Senator. I really appreciate them. And we will implement them in a chap-chap formula very, very quickly. Mheshimiwa Senator, good friend from Tharaka Nithi, about the cultural event. Yes, last year the Cabinet Secretary attended that function, and the monies that were promised, I can promise you in this house that next week I have a meeting, and I'll make sure the monies are allocated, and that is done. And I'll also work closely with the governor to ensure that we also share resources so we can do a good job. And I'll be visiting Tharaka Nithi as one of my first stops to look at what we can do in terms of tourism. On your question about Meru National Park, yes, I'm aware of some of the challenges. You are aware, Honorable Senator, because you're in the know that we had a security operation there just the other day of bandits and people using that as a corridor, and we're working on it because they're able to, affect the fence and go in and go out. At times they're going in, fattening the animals and moving further. But it's something that I'm aware of, and we are taking care of it together with other state agencies. Thank you, my very good friend, Senator Maduma, about your question about the amendment. As you know, it is a 2018 amendment, and you've said it right about the removing of the Snakes and Wildlife Committee. But I have a question that has been sent to me also by the other house about the same issue. So I think it's more of a technical issue, and I'm not able to answer at this time. And I think it's a technical issue between the Senate and Parliament in terms of some of those things that need to be taken care of, housekeeping to be done by this house and the other house. But it's a good point you're making. My good friend from Marsabit, and my condolences for the loss of the Mzee who passed away despite waiting for all these years and not being paid. And that's a story everywhere. It breaks my heart. Families, even people die, and they stay for years. Their families are in poverty. They are the breadwinners. They've not been compensated. It's a really big problem. And I request you, as you've pointed out in your statement, maybe you can also intervene with this with Treasury, so they also understand the importance of this issue, because it's an issue of life and death. Just as we are buying medicines for people, just as we are doing important things, compensation is critical, especially where people have lost their lives or been maimed and they cannot continue. And I would like to be able to pay everyone. I'd like to confirm to this house that the committee verification, it's already started. It is ongoing. And for the 1.1 billion, I want to be able to pay that money very quickly without any delays, as long as Treasury is able to give us that money. I have 1.5 billion shillings seated somewhere. If Treasury approves, that money is available to start paying even tomorrow. But we are yet to get the necessary approval. With a bit of flexing your muscles of this house, we may be able to move forward. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you, Honorable CS. We will take the last batch of questions, and I'll begin with Senator Mungatana.
Asante sana Bwana Spika kwa kunipa nafasi. Bwana Spika, swali langu lilikuwa ni fupi. Kule kwetu Tana River, Bwana Spika, tuko na shida kubwa sana ya wanyama. Kwanza nataka waziri aifanye priority, afanye safari tupange, aje awasikize wananchi vile Tana River tunaumia. watu wanakufa sana. Lakini swali langu ni hili, ni mipango gani ambayo waziri yako nayo kuongeza askari wa game, kule kwa tunaita game au KWS, kwa sababu mara nyingi hawa ndio huwa wanatusaidia, lakini ukiangalia namba zao zimepunguzwa kabisa. Ukiangalia sehemu ya Delta hapa katikati Tana River sub county, ukiangalia Tana North sub county, namba zimepungua badala ya kuongezeka, na shida zetu zinazidi kuongezeka. Je, waziri, ni mipango gani ambayo uko nayo kutuongezea wasimamizi wa wanyama wa pori katika gatuzi dogo la